The hum of the space station was faint but persistent, a low vibration that resonated through the reinforced floors and walls. Overhead, adaptive lighting cast soft, ambient illumination across the corridors and living quarters of Station Orpheus. Most nights were quiet, routine, uneventful. But tonight was different. Lieutenant Mara-chan had retired to her quarters after a long day of training exercises with the Predator Cubs. Her room was modest but comfortable, fitted with soft furnishings, personal effects, and a small observation panel for station communications. She had always preferred simplicity, efficiency, and comfort, not extravagance. The door slid shut behind her. Mara unstrapped her boots, hung her jacket, and moved toward the bed. She did not hear the soft padding behind her, nor did she notice the subtle rustle of claws on metal floors. Outside her quarters, a pack of predator cubs, orange and black, four-eyed, claws retractable yet sharp, waited. Normally playful, loyal, and mischievous. Tonight they were vigilant, protective, and silent. Mara's presence had always commanded attention, but tonight, instinct had heightened their awareness. 2 hours earlier, the training exercises had ended. Mara had guided the cubs through coordinated drills, trust-building exercises, and play interactions with cadets. The cubs had been energetic, curious, and disciplined, responding to her every cue with remarkable precision. Even Scar, the exoskeletal security officer, had nodded silently, acknowledging her calm authority over the pack. "You manage them as if they understand you," one cadet whispered. "They do," Mara said softly. "Humans excel at empathy, observation, and trust. Instinct alone does not bind them. They respond to presence, consistency, and calm authority." The cadets had observed as Mara crouched, laughed softly, growled playfully, and caught the cubs mid-leap. They had seen instinct bend to her guidance, curiosity turn into disciplined play, and chaos into coordinated energy. And now, as night approached, the cubs' instincts shifted again. They had become guardians. Mara moved toward the bed, unaware of the cubs' silent assembly outside her quarters. She changed into sleepwear, settled under the covers, and activated the soft ambient lighting for nighttime. Outside the room, the cubs pressed close to the walls, ears flattened, tails twitching. Their bodies formed a protective semicircle, muscles coiled, eyes alert. The station's night guards approached, assuming routine surveillance. They paused at the door, observing something unusual. The cubs were not playing, not interacting, not distracted. Their gaze, their posture, and their synchronized stillness radiated warning. Lieutenant Scarus' voice came through the calm human chun. "Is there a reason your wards are stationed outside your quarters?" Mara, already half asleep, responded casually. "They're guarding me. All is secure. Nothing for you to intervene in." Scar hesitated. "They are predators, human. They could attack if provoked. I suggest caution." Mara smiled softly, lying back against her pillow. "They wouldn't harm the station's personnel unless they perceived a threat. And right now, the threat is negligible. Trust me." The night deepened. Outside her door, the cubs shifted slightly, adjusting their positions, ears twitching, eyes reflecting the faint ambient light. They patrolled in silent, fluid motions. Any movement from station personnel was met with low, rumbling chirps, warnings that resonated through the floor. No guard dared step forward. Inside her quarters, Mara drifted into rest. She remained aware, senses attuned, but the cub's presence gave her freedom to relax. She could sleep knowing instinct-driven predators, trained yet loyal, guarded her through the night. Midnight brought a disturbance. A minor alarm pinged from the station's outer sectors. Nothing dangerous, only a sensor fluctuation. The cubs stiffened instantly, ears flicking, tails flicking. Guards approached from the corridor, cautious. Mara stirred, opening her eyes. "They sense it," she murmured. "Observe, respond. Do not interfere unnecessarily." The cubs moved seamlessly to positions of observation, bodies low, tails twitching. They emitted low, vibrating growls, alerts that were instinctive yet disciplined. Any human or alien approaching felt the intensity. The guards halted, exchanging nervous glances. Even Scar, normally composed, noted the coordinated vigilance of the cubs. They will attack if necessary, he whispered. But they only acknowledge the human presence. No one else may enter. Mara, fully awake now, smiled faintly. Exactly. Humans inspire loyalty through presence, empathy, and trust. That is why they obey even instinct-driven predators. That is why they guard, rather than attack. Hours passed without incident. The cubs maintained their positions, shifting occasionally but never leaving Mara's side. Any movement from the corridor was met with soft warning chirps or low growls. Guards, cadets, and automated systems respected the perimeter, understanding, consciously or not, the authority that emanated from both Mara and the cubs' recognition of her presence. Mara's mind wandered. She reflected on the day's exercises: trust-building, observation, playful growth, and disciplined guidance. Each cub had responded not just to commands but to her intent. Each had learned to anticipate her needs, coordinate with others, and respond to threats without chaos. Humans excel where instinct alone fails, she whispered, brushing her fingers through the nearest cub's fur. We inspire, guide, and earn loyalty. That is our strength. Morning arrived, soft violet light creeping through the observation panel. Mara stirred, waking naturally. The cubs had shifted closer, forming a protective semicircle around the bed. Each one chirped softly, acknowledging her awakening. Guards hesitated outside the door, respecting the cub's silent authority. Mara stretched, smiling faintly. You see, she said quietly to the nearest cub, our trust has been mutual. You guard me, but you also understand why. That is why humans are extraordinary. We survive, we inspire, and we create bonds that transcend instinct. One cub chirped in response, tail flicking, as if in agreement. Scar arrived for the morning shift, observing silently. Human, I did not approach, he admitted. The cubs, they recognized you. No one dared move. It was extraordinary. Yes, Mara said softly, standing and brushing past the cubs, who shifted to follow. Humans thrive through observation, adaptability, and calm authority. That is why they respect us, even instinct-driven predators. That is why we survive, where others might fail. The morning exercises began, but the memory of the night lingered. Cadets whispered among themselves, recounting how no guard had dared step forward, how instinct-driven predators had maintained a perfect perimeter, and how Mara had inspired loyalty not through threat, but through presence and empathy. Mara moved through the arena calmly, leading exercises, correcting posture, issuing playful low growls to guide behavior. The cubs followed at her heels, responsive, disciplined, and loyal. Each leap, each chirp, each coordinated movement reinforced the lesson. Humans do not survive by force. They survive by inspiring trust, guiding with empathy, and commanding presence. Cadets wrote notes frantically. She doesn't command. She inspires. The cubs obey because they trust her. That is extraordinary. Yes, Mara said softly to herself, crouching beside a cub, scratching its fur. Humans survive by observing, adapting, and inspiring loyalty. That is why we thrive, even in unpredictable environments. That is why the cubs guard, rather than attack. By evening, the station hummed with routine activity. Mara retired once more, knowing the cubs would maintain their protective formation. Guards respected the perimeter. Cadets observed from a distance. The cubs' coordinated presence and disciplined behavior ensured safety, not through fear, but through trust. Mara reflected on the extraordinary bond. A human and instinct-driven predators, united by trust, empathy, and mutual recognition of authority. They didn't guard me because they had to, Mara whispered. They did it because they chose to. That is proof humans are extraordinary. Not just survivors, but catalysts for loyalty, protection, and trust. The cubs chirped softly in response, tails flicking. Mara leaned back, exhausted but content, the soft hum of the station surrounding her. For Lieutenant Mara Chun, that night had been a testament to human adaptability, empathy, and authority. And for the cubs, it had been a night of loyalty, discipline, and trust, proof that humans inspire even instinct-driven predators to recognize and protect their allies.